Martyn, thank you for joining us. What was the board's initial reaction to relegation when it was confirmed last week at Fratton Park?
Well, I think the board and myself are absolutely devastated at being relegated. And I'd like to use this opportunity to apologise to the fans as well for the situation we find ourselves in. At the beginning of the season, we thought we'd recruited well. I did have some reservations about the number of goals that were in the squad and the physicality, but we still felt that we wouldn't finish any lower than mid-table, which would have been on target really for them making a push next season to finishing somewhat higher. So we're extremely disappointed for the club, for the fans, that we found ourselves sliding into a relegation position. I've been the CEO of football clubs, professional football clubs now for 15 years. It's the first time I've experienced relegation. I've had 3 promotions with the previous clubs. I expected to come to Bristol Rovers and get a promotion as well. So I'm very disappointed for all of us that are associated with the club. And there's only one way of dealing with it, and we've got to accept it, and we've got to then bounce back immediately, which is exactly what we intend to do.
What lessons can and have been learned from this current season?
Lessons, yeah. Well, it's been a really difficult season for everybody, isn't it? With a pandemic, every club has had its difficulties. I think the owners of all the clubs have done a tremendous job keeping their clubs going, while in particular has been magnificent with his support for the club. And the fans as well have been magnificent. They've continued to help us with revenues through the shop and through iFollow. And we've launched season tickets just in the past week, and people are buying those season tickets as well. Which is fantastic. We do need to revisit, I think, the way that we identify players to come into the building. We've always had a policy of the manager choosing the players. That will continue. But we just have to make sure that we get the balance of the squad correct. And I think going into this season we didn't quite have that right. I think Ben felt that there were enough goals in the side and was enough physicality, and the way he wanted to play, the players were recruited for that purpose, but it's proved to be not enough for this division. And we tried to address the goal scoring issue. That became quite evident early on. We'd lost Jonah Younger quite early with injury, which only left us really with Brandon and James Daly as recognised strikers. We knew we needed to do something in the January window. By that time, Paul Tisdale was here, and we tried very, very hard to bring another striker in. Paul had been speaking to Jayden Stockley. It seemed very positive that the lad wanted to come and play for us. I managed to negotiate terms with Preston, which seemed to be accepted, and I was told that all Stockley had to do was to go in, knock on Peter Ridsdale's door and say he wanted to come to Bristol Rovers. Unfortunately, he chose to go to Charlton Athletic, probably because of their position in the league, and I've subsequently found out that our offer for Jayden was 50% more than Charlton are paying. So it was nothing to do with finances. We pushed the boat out to try and get Jayden, but at the end of the day, it was his choice to go to a different club. It meant that there wasn't much time left in the window. We'd obviously looked at other strikers. There aren't many available in January. There never are. And I picked up the phone to my friend Nathan Jones, who's a manager at Luton, and asked about Danny Hilton. And Luton were prepared to let him come, but Danny was still in the squad and wanted to fight for his place, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and we respect that decision. And we therefore weren't able to strengthen as we wanted to. And it's never easy in January to strengthen your squad with the right players. So we really have to get it right, I think, at the beginning of the season. And I'm sure, I know for a fact that Joe is working on that and has been working on that in preparation for next season already.
How will Joey be supported in the summer to ensure that we're in the best possible position to bounce straight back to Sky Bet League One?
Well, we will support Joe in the same way that we support every manager. I mean, the budgets that we provided to the managers since I've been here have been very competitive. We've tried to provide the managers with everything that they've asked for within reason, and we'll continue to do so. Joe's made a big impact here since he's arrived, as has his coaches, Clint Hill and Andy Mangan. They're very committed, very enthusiastic and very determined. They all come here as winners. They're obviously as disappointed as the rest of us about how results have gone, but I mean, we've been really badly affected with injuries and poor refereeing decisions, and I know everybody says they get poor refereeing decisions, but I don't think we've had the rub of the green very much this season. And Joe and I have complained to the referees on a number of occasions, and every time they've agreed with us that the decisions were wrong. But Joe's been first class in the way that he's engendered enthusiasm and energy into the team. We've just been unfortunately running out of players with injury, and it's been very difficult for him. But we will bounce back and we'll support him 100%.
You mentioned there that the fan base have provided unwavering support throughout this campaign. Obviously, it's difficult for them not being able to come to matches, watching from home. What would your message be to them, obviously, as we look to draw on the lessons we learned from this campaign to build positive memories next season?
Well, the first message is again to thank them for their support. I mean, we know that there have been a small number of fans that have been very critical, and they're entitled to their opinion. But rest assured that everybody at this club is trying to do the very best they can to move it forward. We don't want to be in League Two. We don't want to be in League One. We want to be in the Championship. So our objective remains the same. We have made some progress in that we've got a training ground now that is evolving into a training ground that we can be proud of. The building that we've got now is almost complete. It will be ready for occupation for the start of the new season. We have had planning application in with South Gloucester Council for some time to extend it, because we actually inherited this planning consent that we've got at the quarters in Hawthorne Lane. And we've determined that we need additional space. So while again has supported the view that we need to expand it so that it can accommodate our development players and our under-18s in the fullness of time. So it is our intention for that training ground to be the Bristol Rovers training ground for first team, development and academy under-18s. And that is ours. With gym facilities and medical facilities on site. So progress has been made in that regard, but the important thing that everybody wants is success on the pitch, and we're absolutely determined to deliver that.